Welcome back to Stuttering Sports. Today is July 21st, 2021, and the topic for today is the New York Jets and why they had a great offseason and why they might not do well next season, but they are definitely trending in the exact right direction. So without further ado, let's get right into the talking points. Starting off with the beginning of every offseason, the moment Week 16 ends, the head coaching, hiring, and firing frenzy. The Jets waited long enough, but they finally got rid of Adam Gase, and they brought in 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, which was potentially the best head coaching hiring of the bunch. I don't want to say that yet, but he was definitely my favorite candidate, and going to the Jets, that big name team, that was one hell of a move to start the offseason with. You go from a terrible head coach to one who all players loved in San Francisco and helped build one of the best defenses back in 2018, 2019, and even last year with all the injuries, they were still a fine defense. So that was one of the best head coaching hirings of that whole frenzy that happens in January. But transitioning to free agency, how did he do during his first free agency period? Well, the Jets had money, and they spent it. They got Corey Davis and Carl Lawson as their two main pickups. Corey Davis was obviously the receiver for the Tennessee Titans, 5th overall pick of the 2017 draft. And the Jets, they needed receiver help. They desperately needed it. Jamison Crowder's good, but he's not a number one receiver. Denzel Mims, he was a rookie, but in the NFL right now, with everyone having a deep receiving core, sometimes you got to shell out the money, and that's exactly what the Jets did for Corey Davis. He is now their wide receiver one, and him with Jamison Crowder and Denzel Mims is a pretty good three-headed monster. We will get to the fourth one when it comes to draft talk, but then transitioning to the defense with the Carl Lawson pickup, having him with Quinnen Williams and Sheldon Rankins is a very good defensive line. Hopefully Carl Lawson can stay healthy, because Quinnen Williams has been making waves these past 2 years, not in the media or anything, but on the field. He's been playing great football. Having him with Carl Lawson is a great 1-2 punch for the D-line. So I do think, as Salah's first free agency and the Jets finally having some money and dishing it out, I think they paid for the right players. It could definitely go wrong if Corey Davis kind of crumbles within the wide receiver one expectations, but I don't think he will. And if Carl Lawson continues to get hurt, then yeah, that contract, it won't be viewed as good. But if he can stay healthy, him and Quinnen Williams are great for that defensive line. So there's your kind of risk reward for both of these signings. And then moving on to the draft, this is obviously where the big shit went down. The Jets had the number 2 pick. It was kind of clear they were drafting Zach Wilson. Trevor Lawrence was going first. It was pretty clear they are getting Zach Wilson. So they decided to get rid of Sam Darnold, sending him to the Panthers, which was a win-win deal to me. I think the Jets got good draft capital. As the Panthers, they got a young quarterback for pretty cheap. That was a pretty win-win deal. And they got their QB in Zach Wilson. I'm not the guy for prospect analysis, but hey, Wilson looks good. Obviously, we don't know what he's gonna be. He could be a bust, he could be a stud. We have no idea, but getting a new quarterback in the building was definitely necessary, as either Darnold could not handle the New York pressure, or it just didn't come together with Adam Gase as the head coach, and really Darnold having no weapons there. It was time for a fresh start for both the Jets and Sam Darnold. So pretty great move getting another QB in there. And they had 2 first-round picks. They got one from Seattle from the Jamal Adams trade, which they used to trade up with the Vikings to get pick 14, and which they drafted guard Elijah Vera Tucker, which probably was my favorite move of the entire draft, to be honest. That it's between that and the Giants trading down. That was awesome to me, because they they're focused on the offensive line. You have Mekhi Becton. He was a stud last year, and he's going to be a stud as their left tackle. Bringing in Vera Tucker was very, very, very needed to me. And then sticking with the offensive line, Connor McGovern is fine how it is. And they also picked up Morgan Moses to serve as their right tackle. So that offensive line, it's definitely not great, but it's trending in the right direction with Mekhi Becton's natural progression will make him one of the top 10, actually probably borderline top 10 tackles next year. I think Vera Tucker will be fine, and Morgan Moses, hey, that's a good right tackle to play with Mekhi Becton. So I do think giving Zach Wilson that immediate help is great to me. Then, and like during the second round, they drafted wide receiver Elijah Moore to add to that wide receiver core. As I said previously, this NFL right now is loaded with wide receivers. Literally every team besides Detroit has at least 3 guys, and now the Jets have 4. I don't blame him one bit for picking up more. He is a deep threat. Bomb it downfield. He's fast enough to go get it. And then looking at the defensive side of the draft with their late round picks, they really stocked up the defense. They had 3 5th-round picks and 3 6th-round picks that they all spent on the defensive side of the ball. That's awesome to me. You need that depth, and at least one of those guys is bound to do something. At least one of them. Getting that depth is really necessary, especially when, let's face it, I'm definitely praising the Jets for this offseason, but they're still a very young and, let's face it, kind of bad team. They're not going to win that many games next year. They're in a tough division, but I do think getting that depth is very necessary. Getting that new QB was very necessary. Stocking up the receiving core, very necessary. Helping the offensive line, very necessary. I think that the Jets went a lot of right directions. They obviously got Carl Lawson to play with Quinnen Williams, very fucking necessary. So I'm going to kind of go over the other positional groups that I didn't really talk about because not that many moves were made there. Starting off with the linebacker group. Just please, CJ Mosley, please just get on the field. They paid CJ Mosley so much money, and he has played so little for the New York Jets. Just please get on the field because he is still a force, or I hope he is, a force to be reckoned with because he hasn't played in 2 years, so I guess I can't say that. And he's one of the few veterans that are on this defense. He really needs to step up and be that leader and be the guy that sets the tone for the defense. Kind of moving on to the secondary, which also, let's face it, not good. You do have Marcus May, who is an absolute stud, but then when you look at the cornerback group, yeah, you know, you got Bryce Hall, and I think the Bryce Hall pickup, that can pay. That was a low risk, high reward. He was projected to be a first, second round pick during the 2020 draft, but injuries pushed him down to the 5th round. I hope he turns out to be good. He's a UVA product, so I definitely hope he turns out to be good with Marcus May. But yeah, the Jets secondary still not good. It's not good. You have Marcus May, who is a stud, but it's not good. The Jets linebacker core, you have CJ Mosley. Hopefully he can stay healthy, but overall it's kind of mediocre. Carl Lawson and Quinnen Williams, Sheldon Rankins, and Vinny Curry, hey, that's a pretty good D-line group. It's still kind of average, but with Quinnen Williams, just with his progression, and hopefully Carl Lawson can help him out and also stay on the field, that I think the defense will most likely be kind of average to slightly below average. They have good pieces, and they drafted a lot of depth guys, but let's face it, overall, it's not that great. Looking at the offense, hey, you stack the receiving core. The offensive line is young. You got the young QB. The only thing I'm kind of concerned about is a lack of rushing game. You have Tevin Coleman and LaMichael Pirine, and you also drafted Michael Carter during the 4th. Sure, there's nothing to write home about there. Hopefully next draft or next free agency, they can bring in a guy to either relieve pressure from Zach Wilson or give him a dynamic rushing game. So, yeah, I think that the Jets had a great offseason, and from the head coaching hiring to the free agency to the draft pool, I think they killed it. They won't be good next year, but they're trending in the right direction that's going to do it for me today. If you enjoyed this video, share it with your friends. If not, share it with your friends. Give it a thumbs up if you liked and a thumbs down if you didn't like. And yeah, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Hope you enjoyed and have a great day.